let's talk about the movie Ordinary Angels. Ordinary Angels stars Alan Richson as a family man married to a beautiful wife. We see him at the birth of one of his children, and then 5 years later, his wife passes away. He is now burdened with not just the hospital bills from his wife's passing, but now raising 2 young daughters on his own. He works as a roofer, doing odd jobs, just trying to make ends meet as he's trying to raise his kids. Then one of his daughters needs a transplant,
a liver transplant
in order to survive. So 5 years old. This is after his wife passes away, all of this, and he's stuck with over $400,000 in hospital bills. The story somehow makes it into the media, and a woman named Sharon Stevens, played by Hilary Swank, learns of the plight of Ed Schmidt and his family. She has her own hair salon and decides, I'm going to raise money. I'm going to raise money to help Ed and his family. And she kind of insinuates herself into his life. Hilary's she's a spark plug, also dealing with her own problems. She has she's divorced, has a son that's somehow estranged from her. Reason being is that she's an alcoholic. She doesn't have her life together. And kind of as almost therapy for herself, she's looking to try to help this family as a way to work through her own pain. This is very much, I believe this movie is from Angel Studios.
No, it's from
sorry.
Yeah, I believe it's Lionsgate.
Lionsgate. My apologies.
It's their Faith division, yes.
But it is one of their Faith movies. That's why I got mixed up with Angel Studios. But it is within the Faith. Now, the faith that's in the film is not super forced. I mean, he goes to church in a couple scenes, and he's really just looking for guidance because when everything goes wrong for him, and his daughter, you see her physically deteriorate, where she's number 5 on the list for a transplant, and he's been told his daughter's got about maybe a year to live. If she gets the transplant, she'll survive or not. I don't want to go into too much in the third act, but it is a nail biter in the end where the whole town comes to rally and help him. It's very much a family movie, and I'll admit I got choked up during watching a lot of this film. And Alan Richson, all I can think while watching that guy, he is physically imposing. I mean, he is a big dude. He's in that show Reacher, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so everyone keeps recommending it to me. Yes, at some point I'll get to it. But he's been rumored to be playing Batman, right? In the James Gunn DC universe. He's been one of the names that's been bandied about to play Batman in the new DC universe. I think it would be a great choice. And I saw him in a movie where it's not an action movie. He's just putting on roofs on houses. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, this guy could, perch on a corner of that roof with a cape on and be Batman. But this really is one of those heartfelt family movies. The stuff with the kids is really heartwarming. And Hilary Swank steals the film. I mean, Ed Schmidt, as played by Alan Richardson, is very much like buttoned up, like, I just want to help my kids. I don't want any help. Don't help me. Don't help me at all. I can do it all myself. And Sharon, this woman, Hilary, played by, Hilary Swank, she's a firecracker. She's not going to take no for an answer. And I like that about her. She does a bunch of fundraising. She has meetings with like the hospital, you can see the trailer. All of this stuff is in the trailer. And she's the light of the film. She's this beacon of positivity, but coming from a very dark place where her son doesn't respect her anymore. Her grown adult son doesn't even like his mom. She struggles with alcohol, and you see that in the film, but she is driven to help Ed Schmidt and his family and arranging to get this liver transplant.
Yeah. What I like is that she inserts herself into this family's lives in a very weird and creepy way, almost to the point of annoyance midway through the movie. And you realize that's intentional. This idea that she is this, kind of a savior, a messiah to this family. There's a payoff to it in terms of why she's like that and why, and just how, like I don't want to spoil it, but there's a reason she does that, and it's addressed in a very down to earth and real way. I too do like this movie. The trailers make this movie look sappy as hell. It is sappy, but it is an inspiring story. It's a true story for
it's a true story. It's unbelievable, and I couldn't believe that they could make the story of a young girl, 5-year-old girl, getting a liver transplant into practically an action movie by the end. Like, you're on the edge of your seat. And I saw it with a crowd on Monday. It was the Screen Unseen, which is where they show a movie that's coming to theaters and you get to see it a little bit early, right? And it's generally crowded for those kind of things. I couldn't believe it. People clapped at the end. Yeah. You saw, I heard people crying, not me, but people behind me were in tears. I mean, it's really edge of the seat at the end. I'm not sure if the real story is really like.
They show the big moment, the real.
Right.
The other thing is this movie gives a message that we haven't heard in a very long time, and the message is communities help each other.
Yes,
there's this thing in the world called charity. There's this thing where we volunteer our time to help people. And this is a movie that's all about that. It's giving, it's getting out of our comfort zones, going and helping someone who's in need. This used to be the big story back when this movie was made. I believe it was the early 2000s. There was a time where we all helped each other, where we heard stories, human stories, humanitarian stories in our local communities, and people would go out and help. And for some reason, we've hunkered. Yeah, since the pandemic, we've bunkered ourselves in our homes, and we just don't connect with people anymore, and we don't help people anymore. And that's what I think. That's what this movie is. It was meant to be. It's just that call to action for charity.
No, that's what struck me as I'm sitting in the theater and I'm hearing people like weeping, and people clapped at the end. And I'm sitting here in a room with strangers watching this film, and I'm like, we don't even see movies like this. Do people even think this way? We live at a time that is so dark, where people are so quick to judge others in cruel ways, in incredibly cruel ways. I'm mostly talking about social media, of course.
What's that whole punch a Nazi kind of attitude?
Right. Where this is just a community rallies around to help a family. We could use more of that, not just at the movies, but in real life. And it just struck me like, wow, we become so cynical that a movie like this, I mean, I can't imagine this movie getting a bad review. I'm sure it's going to get good to great. I don't know what others are saying about it.
I mean, the negative, I think, if people don't like it is overly positive.
Right. Maybe that's part of it. It's got an 8.2 out of 10 on IMDb, 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. That sounds about right.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah.
That sounds reasonable. That's reasonable for this movie. But I really enjoyed it. I got sucked in. I kind of groaned when I saw the beginning of the movie, and I'm like, oh, what did I sign up for? And then total sucked in. And Alan Richson, the strength that he shows you don't see this very often in movies. Okay. This could lead to a rant. A good father that's not inept. His flaw is he's proud. He's too proud. He doesn't want to accept help from the community. He really doesn't want help from Sharon. And she's the sort of catalyst to like, hey, I brought muffins. Let's go through your bills. And they sit there. It's a really funny scene where they're going through all his bills. And he says, okay, this pile is urgent, and this pile is really urgent. And like, it's just like going through like how, like, I mean, there's some, there's some good laughs throughout the film to kind of break the tension. But I really enjoyed the film. And when I saw it's based on a real story, I don't know. I was really taken aback. And it doesn't, okay, for those that may be turned off by something that's quote faith-based, it's not pushing
It's
anything.
very light. The faith in this is very light.
And you know what? You know what it does? I can't believe that even this movie is considered a faith-based movie. This is just a normal movie from 20 years ago, where people who go to church are just regular people, which exists in real life. They're just regular church-going people. There's like 2 or 3 scenes where they're just at church, and I mean that's it. It's a part of the character's life, right? The character, I mean the real person, Ed Schmidt. And Alan Richson is, for someone of such physical stature, really shows a vulnerability that you rarely get to see, right? Which is why I'm thinking he could really be Batman. He could be a great Batman. I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, we've heard that. That's that's stupid. But look, I just, you know what? Recommendation from me, 7.5 out of 10, easily.
Yeah.
And if you really, really like, just a heartfelt, good, solid story with a strong, good father. He's not inept. He's not. And I do like the stuff where Sharon is like trying to like, what do you mean your business? You should be doing this. And she's kind of like just giving him advice. And he, it's not like she's the girl boss. He's just broken from.
He's overwhelmed. He's overwhelmed by life, by everything. His job.
Yeah.
Family, and Sharon just basically comes in and helps organize his life, give it structure and order. That's her job. And she helps him muddle through the debt, the high amount of debt he's in. Right.
So there you go.
All right, we got a lot of comments about this.
Okay, so we'll get to it. Alan, do you recommend Ordinary Angels?
Oh, absolutely.
Same.
Seeing the trailers. Look, I believe I saw this trailer before the pandemic. This movie has been long. It's been a long time for this movie to come out, and usually that's a sign of it's a bad movie. This one is good. It's fun. It's inspiring. Highly recommended.
Patrick Lemire says Swank and McDowell, new movies with people who have been laying low is an emerging theme. Yeah, well, they're just solid, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are very few movie stars that exist today. Very few movie stars that exist.
Yeah. I mean, look, Hilary Swank, Alan Richardson pretty much make the movie.
Yes. Yes.
Faith movies have always traditionally been eye rollers. You put quality actors in the lead roles, less of an eye roll.
But I don't see this. It's not a faith movie. It's literally, look at movies from the past. Religion was just woven into the story, not a big part of it, but you had characters who were religious or whatever. Religion was a larger part of everyday life, at least as portrayed in Hollywood movies. And it wasn't a big deal. Yeah. It was just there.
Yeah. I mean, I'll push back on that by saying, I've certainly, the churches that I've been attracted to and that I've attended are the ones that are fairly community-based and charity and volunteerism heavy. And my current one, like my current church during the pandemic, I was out there almost every Saturday passing out food through these drive-throughs, just to kind of help, and I hate to say it, but helping others makes you feel pretty good. I don't hate saying that, by the way.
It's as weird as it sounds. I don't want to get too specific, but I'll just say there's a lot of work being done with people dealing with depression, and you've got people being prescribed pills to help with mental illness, right? I don't think a pill is ever a solution. Exercise and diet and get outside yourself. In some of the darkest moments of my life, having struggled and gone through things, one of the best things I ever did was volunteer to help. You get outside of yourself. You said it, Alan. You get outside of yourself and you go and volunteer to help other people. You realize how small your problems are.
Mhm.
And the fact that I'm whining in my head, I allow myself to be upset maybe for less than a day. That's it. That's all you get. Get outside yourself. When you go help others and you see other people's circumstances and what they're dealing with is everything that you're struggling with is so small in comparison is ridiculous. So to me, best form of therapy is go help others.
Mhm.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Or mimosas. Bottomless
Somehow the world
mimosas.
survived this
I'm
far
kidding.
without-
I was kidding. I'm kidding about that. I'm kidding.